bookworms! My name is Kaylin and welcome back to my channel Thriving in Fiction. Today I'm going to be going over the books that I bought in the month of April. I have a problem with buying too many books, so please don't judge me too harshly with the 11 books that you're about to see in this video. And so in no particular order, let's get started with our first book, which is Fireborn by Rosaria Munda. So this book is a young adult fantasy novel, and I believe it's based off part Russian revolutionary history, part Plato's Republic. So I know you're following two main point of view characters, one being a very Anastasia-like character. So he was born into the powerful class of society before the revolution, and the other point of view character being born into the serfdom, if that's the term they use in this novel, I'm not really sure. But both have experienced violence and death in this world at opposite ends of the spectrum almost, because while he was born into the powerful upper class, during the revolution, he witnessed his family bloodily murdered by the rioting mobs. And the other character, who was born into the serf class, experienced ungodly violence perpetrated by the ruling class. So these characters both have violent histories, and because of their violent histories, these characters have ended up in the same orphanage and have actually grown up together and have come to be close with each other, even though they both remind each other of why they're so alone in this world. I'm led to believe. So the book follows them and the society as it's learning that maybe not all revolutions lead to something better all the time. I think. I haven't read it yet, so we'll find out. But this is the first book that I bought in April. So these next two books on my book haul really shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that's been following my channel at all. You know that this author and this world is my current obsession. And these two books are The Heroes and Best Served Cold, both by Joe Abercrombie, obviously. So these two books are standalones set in the world of the First Law trilogy, and they take place after the first trilogy. And then after that comes another trilogy, and I believe he's releasing the third book in that series later this year. It'd be a dream of mine to catch up, to be able to read that book when it comes out, but that's a lot of bloody pages to get through. So I'm not going to put that pressure on myself, but I do want to have them on hand because I feel like I'm going to miss this world as soon as I'm done with The Last Argument of Kings. And the next book that I hauled is The Black Coast by Mike Brooks. This is an adult fantasy novel, and I picked this up because Books with Brittany read it recently and she really liked it. So from what I understand, in this book you're following the citizens of the Black Keep, and they are the constant victims of a rival raiding society. And they wake one day to find the familiar sight of this rival society's boats on the horizon. However, they soon find out that these people aren't here to raid their village any longer. They're here to try to build a society and work with the people of the Black Keep because they were driven from their homeland by a demonic despotic ruler. And I believe this is more of a story about these two people coming together and trying to build a life together through circumstances that have forced them together. And while these two peoples have come together and they're trying to work together and to build something new, I believe the evil that this clan's people have run from are soon going to find our people at the Black Keep. So I'm really excited to get into this. I'm always on the lookout for new fantasy authors that I can get into, so this is definitely one high on my TBR. And the next book I picked up is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. From what I understand, this is a very heartbreaking novel that's based partly on the Iliad, like you're following the Iliad and some scenes and characters that you're very familiar with, but it's more of a love story, and it's centered on Achilles and Patroclus, and I believe it's told from the first-person perspective of Patroclus as he and Achilles meet when they're young and grow and develop a friendship and then slowly start to fall in love. But as anyone who's read the Iliad knows, that this love story doesn't have a great ending. So I know this is a very popular but heartbreaking book. So while I'm looking forward to reading it, I'm also very scared too. I also love ancient and classic history, so anything that has even a little hint of that in it, I'm automatically interested in. So whenever I'm in the mood for a really good cry, this will be the book I pick up. And the next book is also a very popular one here on BookTube, and it is a young adult fantasy novel, and it is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. I don't really know a whole bunch about this one other than I think it's partly based on Spartan society, but it also has elements of Middle Eastern mythology and history in it. So I do think it has some political themes and machinations happening, but at the heart of it, I believe, is a really angsty romance, and that's really why I bought it. So when I'm in the mood to break up all of my very dense, high fantasy, I will be picking up An Ember in the Ashes to break that up. So the next book I picked up is actually a sequel, and I haven't read the first one yet. But I thought I'd just go ahead and pick up the sequel because it's my favorite author, so chances are I'm gonna like it. And that is Starsight by Brandon Sanderson. I picked this up because I was out shopping on Independent Bookstore Day and I just wanted to buy something to show my support, and it was in the store, and I realized it's one of the few books by one of my favorite authors that I didn't own, so I went ahead and I bought it. And I can't really tell you a whole bunch about the plot because obviously I don't want to spoil it for myself, and I don't want to read the back to spoil the first one for me. But from what I understand, the first one is about Spensa, who is the daughter of a disgraced fighter pilot in this society, and she is trying to outrun her father's reputation, less than stellar reputation. Other than that, I'm clueless, so. And because I have the second one now, that's moved the priority of reading the first one up on my TBR, so hopefully I'll get to that soon. And the next book I picked up is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I believe it's about a man who wakes up and is another version of his life. So his wife is not his wife, his son doesn't exist, he doesn't work where he has worked his entire adult life, and I believe it's part thriller because he's trying to figure out what's happened, but I hope it also touches on themes of our decisions and where that can lead us in our lives and how different decisions have different outcomes and all of that. I also love that it's very short, so I'll be picking this up whenever I need a break in between Joe Abercrombie. And the next book I picked up is another adult sci-fi, and that is Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This author is very popular on BookTube, and I believe this is one of his more touted works, so this is definitely where I wanted to start with him. I believe this book is about the last remnants of humanity who are fleeing a dying Earth, and they have the star charts of their ancestors who, in centuries past, who have spread out and explored space, and they come across a previously terraformed planet, and they think they've won the jackpot. They're fleeing a dying Earth, and they come across this planet that's already made for them to live on. But once they get there, it's not as Eden-like nor as empty as they believed it to be. So I believe there is already a civilization established on this planet, and ultimately this book is about the clashing of these two civilizations. And I believe the other civilization is spiders, which is just horrific, but opens up so many possibilities for themes. So I'm looking forward to picking this one up as well. And the next two books I picked up used from some local stores that I have here in Charlottetown, and they are Dune by Frank Herbert. And I picked this up because I want to read it really soon. I've always wanted to read Dune, and I'm really feeling like the mood is striking, but I also didn't really want to lug around my beautiful collector's 50th edition? Whatever edition this is. I didn't want to have to lug that back and forth to work, so I picked up this paperback version secondhand, and I'm looking forward to reading it finally. And at that store, my partner actually picked up a book as well, and they were having a buy two get one free sale on that day, so the next book I got was actually free, and I honestly don't know if I have any intention of ever reading it, but it was free, and I might, so I picked it up, and that is Gardens of the Moon by Steven Erikson. And this is one of the most intimidating fantasy series that I've ever heard of. It's got this huge, expansive, continents-wide, thousands upon thousands of year history world at its center. And I do know The people who love it, and the people who don't, just, it doesn't click with them. So I have no idea where I stand. I have no idea if I have the guts to start it, but it was free, so I picked it up. All right, guys, so that has been all of the books that I bought in the month of April. I know I have a problem, and I don't ever plan on fixing it. Like any true bookworm, I will always have too many books. So that has been all of the books that I bought in the month of April. Have you bought any of these? Have you read any of them? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one, guys. Bye.